And that's what it says in the Bible, that God is the first, the ultimate, and that man must follow God. And that is true leadership. Welcome to Heart of the Lion. My name is Anthony Strongheart. The family and leadership and our society right now, with all the issues that we're facing with family, the father, the mother, children, raising children, and courtship in the first place, finding a man and a woman that get together, and dating and relationships, and all these things that we're struggling with right now come from a dismantling of the family, which is the epicenter of what has created our society and our tribes in the first place, that have built this whole world. And everything that is good in the world has been built through the propagation of our species in a wise and a healthy way. And at the very center of that is the connection between the masculine and the feminine and us coming together. And the ailment that we have as a society, to some degree, is a rebellion against leadership. And that is because leadership has been responsible for a lot of terrible things in this world. There have been leaders that chose the wrong path, that chose greed, that chose obsession, that chose malevolence and brutality and egotism. Ego. They chose the aggrandizement of self, the retaining of power over doing the right thing and what is actually wholesome and moral and good. And that kind of thing has been around since the dawn of time. Since the Stone Age, there have been leaders, fathers, warriors, generals, tribes that chose brutal retaining of power for the sake of power and egotism, and not for the sake of righteousness, morals, goodness, and the following of God on a deep, internal, powerful level. And so that leadership role has absolutely been bastardized throughout the ages, from the Stone Age to today is no different. And so some of the pent-up resentments against that have been pushing towards rebellion against leadership. And one of the most current forms that rebellion has taken place is through the idea of feminism. This feminism is really a rebuking of this male leadership outright as negative, and a seeking to attain that authority for women themselves, that they become their own leaders. And it's okay, it's just the way of the world. It's just what it is, man. It's what it is. And there's been a rebellion against that male leadership. The problem is, in the Bible, something is laid out. It is what it is, man. It's beautiful. The truth is that God is the ultimate authority. God is the ultimate one that will judge us. God is the ultimate one. And in the Bible, it says that the man must follow God. That leadership that men have used in all kinds of ways throughout history, that leadership must be following towards God in a deep and profound and ultimate way. And that man, if he is not following God, if he is not following the moral backbone of spiritual connection and understanding of of God, eternal being, if he's not following that, his leadership will be poisoned. And it will turn into what we have seen throughout the ages. Even spiritual leaders in the tribal days, in the Stone Age, spiritual leaders have find themselves going astray. And even though they protest that they follow God, are really following the traps of egotism. And it's a very hard path to follow. That's why in the Bible it says, the way is narrow through the eye of a needle. And it is talking about once you have that power of leadership and you are leading, so many temptations will come and try and drag you this way and that way. And everybody will be trying to point the finger at you saying that you're falling this way and falling that way. And you have to sift through the minutia, through the wilderness of all that's happening there, and find God and find that righteous, moral way despite all the chaos. And that's true leadership. And that's a hard job. And that's the eye of a needle and a very narrow path. And it is hard to resist and be of such strong moral character that you can carry through that wilderness and actually guide people to what is good and wholesome and not what will just serve your own ego. And that's the challenge. And that's very hard. And so in the Bible, it says the man must follow God. And that is a challenging task that he'll have to overcome and carry on with throughout his entire life. And it takes grit. And it takes fierceness. And it takes the ability to deal with all these things and stay steadfastness. And that's hard to do. Most men cannot. Hopefully, most men are trying. And they don't have to be the leader of the entire world. You don't have to be the prophet incarnate. You just need to be able to lead your little, small situation. So maybe that's you getting a job, paying your bills. Maybe it's finding a girlfriend. Maybe it's raising a family. Maybe it's building a business. Maybe it's all the way to the top. Maybe it's president of the United States or whatever, spiritual leader or whatever. And even those guys are corrupted as hell, man. It's crazy, bro. Those guys, they fall off all the time. It's really hard to do it right. And it's a task. It's a craft. It's got to be a passion to do your very best with your tiny little aspect, with your 6-foot perimeter, with your circle. And it's a very hard thing to do. Most people fall off. Hopefully, if we're wise enough, if we're a wise enough man, we can recognize where we fall off, repair the mistakes, and carry on and do it better and better and better. Which doesn't mean, like I insinuated just now, it doesn't mean we don't make mistakes. It means that we're constantly vigilant about the process, even when it hurts our egos. Even when it challenges our status quo. And nobody can make that decision for us except ourselves, because there's so many charlatans that will try to say, oh, you fell off here, you fell off there. And really what they're saying is not that you fell off. Really what they're saying is, I would like to be able to control you and manipulate you. You're out of my control and you're out of my reach. And please fall for my shenanigans so I can con you and control you. And that's what most criticism is about. All the critics, most criticism is about control And it's not about what's actually right, because as it says in the Bible, and I'm not a Bible thumper, but there's some things in there that are real, man. And one of those things is that path is narrow, that eye of a needle. It's very hard to do it right. And most critics are not criticizing for the righteous ways. They're criticizing for power and control and dominance for ego's sake, not for moralistic sake. They protest. That's what do they call it? Virtue signaling. That's what virtue signaling is all about. Virtue signaling is a trap. Can I get you to fall for my con game under the guise of morals? Can I get you to fall for the con game so then I can dominate your ass, control you, manipulate you, and push you down? And so that I can feel better about myself. And that's what most criticism is about, bruh. So, anyways, it says in the Bible that God is the ultimate and that man must follow God. And that way is hard, and most people aren't doing that, but that is the striving. We must strive for that and become great leaders at that. And it takes time, it takes wisdom, it takes courage, it takes self-sacrifice, it takes so much from the guts of the heart. Like those soldiers in the trenches, everybody dying around them. Oh my God. How do I survive and do the right thing when all the chips are stacked against me and no one is here for me? That's the test of a man. That's the test of a man. And that's a hard one. That's a hard one. And we hope and we pray that we are that good, that we can do the right thing in those times. And it's hard to do that. And most cannot. Most cannot. But we strive for that. And that's what it says in the Bible, that God is the first, the ultimate, and that man must follow God. And that is true leadership. And they say in that one, it's beautiful, that the woman must follow the man. Man must follow God to be in moral integrity, and the woman must follow the man. And that includes choosing a good man, choosing a righteous man and a godly man, and not a godly man because he protests and virtue signals that he's a godly man. That's different. But to actually follow God, to actually be self-leading, self-critiquing for moralistic integrity. This is the real task. Oh, boy. And so the woman must follow that man. And the reason is because a woman has a different path.